Met most of you already. For those who haven't met, I'm Janice Ansine. I work at the Open University in the UK. I'm going to tell a bit about what we've been doing with iSpot in terms of making it a more engaging platform for learning and teaching around biodiversity. So very quickly about the OU. We're Britain's main learning institution. We're a leader in distance learning. We develop innovative technology and educational technology. And one of the things we've been doing, particularly over the past 8 to 10 years, is integrating citizen science and open practical science online within our particular STEM pedagogy, and where Maria works in the more technological side and innovation side of things. The themes that are coming out of our citizen science approaches are public participation in scientific research, public engagement, the collecting and sharing of data. We're also advancing scientific knowledge. Citizen inquiry is a new theme which we've recently started to see evolving, and we've just published a book on that, led by the OU. And teaching, learning, and skills building. So you might think, why a university getting into citizen science? But basically, for most of you who know of the OU, you know that we've always been collaborating with the BBC and doing lots of programs and initiatives. And over the years, we've realized that we know that a lot of people are interested in nature. They like watching David Attenborough and all of that. What we want to figure out was, how could we help them learn? So we decided to use the hook, the thrill of observing nature, and the sense of achievement that you can get when you can identify it. The obstacle, as you know, is that identification is difficult. So we decided to put together sort of a blended approach, which has integrated web-based technology, tools, etc., featuring collaborative data collection and practical science applications. We've made it a sort of a journey, so you can do informal learning, and it's supported by, in some instances, face-to-face engagement and activities, but also formal learning, because of course, we are a university, that's our business, so we have to integrate it into our modules, courses, and our newer modules, our MOOC, Massive Open Online Courses, and our Box Badge Open courses. And I'll be telling you a little bit more about that later on. So just a quick synopsis of what we've been doing with citizen science over the years, for those who don't know. Of course, we've always been integrating students testing things in courses. Then in 2009, we launched Evolution Megalab. That was a European-wide project that some of you may know about. And at the same time, we're working on a busy year that year. We also launched iSpot. A few years later, we developed the Open Science Laboratory, which focuses on practical science and online experiments, and that can be quite useful as a free resource to use in classroom activities. Integrated within that was Inquiry. It's Maria's baby. If you have any questions, you can ask Maria about that. And also Situate. And Treezilla, another one that I manage, which is looking at mapping trees and giving you the ecosystem service value, was another initiative we launched around that time as well. And other things we've been doing at university, we do some stuff with space science, which some people might know about, the Europlanets. But a new one that came on board a couple of years ago was Asterix, which is looking at astronomy, research, observatories. And the OU is leading the dissemination engagement and citizen science component. So that's a new area that we're getting into. So what next? Looking into the future, possibly designing new models that can be shared and integrated across the range. And that's where I'll be going a little bit to tell you about what we've been doing with learning. So iSpot, launched in 2009, it's a platform for anybody who likes nature. You pretty much can post an observation and get help with identification. And as you do so, you learn and build your skills. We aim to lower barriers to ID, make nature open to all, create a new generation of naturalists. I mean, in the UK, they're a dying breed, but we're trying to get young people on board to get them more engaged, and going through school is a good way to do that. And of course, we want to contribute to biological data recording, and that feeds into research. So, our learning model is built along the premise of, with reputation and help, you can go on a learning journey. And over the years, running the project for the past 9 years, almost 10, we've been able to demonstrate that. And it's this model that I'm going to tell a little bit more now in the context of what we're talking about today. So, what we've created, based on our experience, is a learning design which is framed by a 5-step model. So it goes from exploring nature through to more recognized learning actions. And I can give you the link to this book chapter if you're interested afterwards. So, the model. It starts with exploring, identification, contributing, personalization, so making it your own, and recognition, which feeds into the more learning, more recognized learning opportunities. I'm going to go through each step quite quickly. So, exploring nature, what we found is that just by looking at the site and exploring the site, people are engaging with it in such a way. We have from our analytics, we see that people have stayed on the site between 8 to 10 minutes. And we've been told that's quite a high rating. So just by that, we know they're having an interaction. Just by the pages they're viewing, there is an experience happening. So we think that's a very basic level to start with. Now, supporting that type of engagement is, of course, getting out there, getting with the public. And this is an iconic story, which I have to tell you, I've got to share this today, about a little girl some years ago, but this happened, we launched iSpot in June 2009, and this happened in October 2009. She was 6 at the time. She saw a moth on the windowsill, said to her daddy it looked strange. Her dad knew about iSpot, he posted on iSpot, and it happened that it was a moth, a unanimous leaf notcher from Asia. First time found in Europe, it's now at Natural History Museum. We took it there ourselves, but she took it to show and tell at school first. It hit the press big that year, and that's what helped to really push iSpot out there to the public. I'll stop there, we can talk more about that after if you want. Now, one of the things we've done over the years as well, when we started iSpot, we were funded originally for 5 years by the Big Lottery Fund for England. And we were part of the Open Air Laboratories Network at that time. And so we're integrating, doing things like surveys, and other activities. I managed a team of mentors who did engagement work across England, and the OAU funded to extend across the UK. And this is how we got people outdoors, exploring nature in the outdoors, and then engaging with the website indoors. So just a snapshot of some of the things that we did in that time. So let's move to the second step of the learning journey that I'm trying to explain. So this is pretty much what iSpot does. It's helping you identify an observation through a community approach. So somebody posts this image of a damselfly. They say they think they might know what it is, and then as you can see through the process of comments, they get assistance. Somebody says, yes, I'm sure it's that person has expertise based on the badges you can see there, and this shows that it's a credible verification. And as it happens, as you can see, the person actually tells them how you know it's that. And that is how we say iSpot helps people learn. It can build their skills. The teaching and learning happens as we use the site. So for a novice user, learning. For an expert, it's teaching. And we have a wide community of support from various schemes, societies who support the site, who just give their time for free, helping others, and at the same time, they themselves are also learning. So let's move on to step 3, contributing. And this is what really gets people going, the sort of gamification approach. So one of the things that iSpot has is a very unique reputation system, which, as I mentioned, it badges you based on your organization link if you're an expert, and also it badges you as you use the site in terms of building your knowledge on specific areas. So as you can see, this particular person has a high reputation point for fungi, lichens, and plants, birds, but not very much so on fish. But what we've noticed, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, where people who come in on certain areas, they can then see their points, their interests growing in other areas, because as they use it and learn and share with others, they start posting other things as well. So, just a demonstrative model showing how we know that iSpot is helping people learn. We took a snapshot of just over 400 observers on iSpot with just over 20,000 observations. And what we found is that by the time they got to their 50th observation, they were able to self-identify. So that we thought demonstrated that learning process happening in that way. Okay, now to the nitty-gritty of how you can use the site to really make it your own. A few years ago, we integrated a feature called iSpot Projects, which allows you to filter the site to collect, share, propose a research query, and of course learn. So the system allows you to break it down based on habitat, species group, timelines, so if you want to look at historic observations on iSpot, or just to collect what you want to do, or in a classroom setting to collect the observations that a class might put in. So you can do a map of your classroom, of your school-based area or a local park, and look at what's there and collect the observations and use iSpot to demonstrate that and get the community helping. And what you have there also is a unique URL that you can then share with others to help contribute to building this area. Now, one of the key things that after running iSpot for a number of years, we realized that we really wanted to have something in there to help people self-assess their learning. And in 2013, we integrated the quiz, the iSpot quiz. And basically, it's in all the subject areas that iSpot covers, and different levels: easy, intermediate, challenging, advanced, and expert. And what we found, as you can see, this is a snapshot of some within the first year after we launched the quiz. A lot of people liked to, of course, test themselves about birds, plants, and vertebrates, less so on fish. What we found is that we have some people who do it constantly, repetitively so. But the system is built in a way where it sets up the quizzes based on iSpot observations, and then after the quiz is used for a period of time, it deactivates that and creates a new one. So you can't really just try and repeat the same one over and over, it creates it itself. So we find that people like to do that to test their knowledge and build their skills as they go along. So the more formalized side of learning that we've done is integrate iSpot into our own modules. So iSpot is used in our second level, which we call second year, course, Biology of Survival. And the students actually do a couple of things, including looking for pollinators. They do a BioBlitz activity and use iSpot as a tool to post their observations. The interesting thing about this is that they then get support from the iSpot community of experts, not just their peers and their lecturers. And then we create bespoke tools for students and so on that they can help to how to use the site. And there's some here for you to take away if you want them. Another course that we've been in for the past couple of years is the Ecosystems MOOC. Now, the OU is a partner in Future Learn. Does anybody know about Future Learn? And the Ecosystems MOOC was one of the first ones that the OU built. And basically, it teaches people about ecosystems and uses iSpot as a tool to do that at certain parts of the course. And here again, we've created projects in the project tool to bring the students together so that we can post their observations and see what they're doing. And we're also then able to compare the data over time. So the other part of teaching that we do is linked with some of the other platforms that we have. So one of them is the Open Science Laboratory. And what we do, we create bespoke sort of lessons that anybody can use. Some of them are bespoke to certain courses that the OU runs, or other courses by other partners, schools, and so on. But a lot of them are free to use. So do go on and browse. There are lots of resources that you can actually utilize there. And then, of course, is the other area of teaching that I mentioned, where we are, with the Open University now started a whole framework of new courses called Badged Open Courses. And we're currently writing one which is entitled, well, I hope it will be the final title, watch the space, Citizen Science and Global Biodiversity. This is basically a free 8-week course that you can do, and it will be covering these basic areas and will be available via our free courses on our Open Learn platform. So that's something that I can share with the community as soon as we actually get it done. We're writing as I speak. Meaning me being one of the hold-ups. Anyway. Okay. So that's basically taking you through the steps, demonstrating what we've been doing within a learning framework, teaching learning framework. And we think that we're able to, after these years doing it, we're able to say, yes, this is happening. What we want to now do is really get this developed as a model that can be shared as best practice. I mean, we know we're a different type of university, so some of the things we've been doing are linked to some of the resources that we have. But we think there's certain things that we've done that could be useful for others. We're not saying we've done everything right. One of the biggest challenges we have, of course, is resource funding, keeping things going, technology going out of date and refreshing. Yeah, don't get me started. Hold on, listener. And that's it. Snapshot of our observations over time and some of our high usage statistics. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Sorry, so whistle top, sorry. There's so much in there, so sorry it was too much.
That's okay. I had two questions. The first one is there any meta platform that gathers all the data from all the platforms on biodiversity, for example, because there is a lot existing. So then this data could be used by researchers. So instead of the researchers going to each platform collecting the data, it could be like a general, like...
You just raised one of the biggest challenges we've been talking about in this area, interoperability, integration. It's difficult. Platforms are built on in different technology. Yeah, it's like you're opening a big can of worms. But interestingly, we at the Open University are currently leading RIA that may be focused on that in the news first call. So watch this space. But it's kind of looking at ways we can, there are lots of platforms out there, we all do things, we all have a lot of experience doing it. How can we bring this experience together to make it more beneficial, and then putting our heads together, make it easier for people to access it and so on. So we are thinking about it, it's on the agenda. Difficult to do, but it's on the agenda.
Can I just add very quickly? I totally agree. It's like one of the hugest things that keeps me up at night. But because I work with iNaturalist a lot. But just so iNaturalist feeds automatically into the Global Biodiversity Information Facility, which is a place that researchers can go to get lots of open source data. Does iSpot feed into GBIF also?
The UK system is very different, where we have the National Biodiversity Network has the portal that it feeds through. So it does feed through the NDN in that way. But we're in discussions about alternative routes and other things, because as you can see, we have a lot of data in iSpot, and it's getting it out and getting it used. We do have independent researchers who may contact us to get access to certain data sets and so on, and we do our own research ourselves, and we'll be exploring that more. Okay. But that's something that's on the agenda now.
I have a question. How do we start to fill in the map places that don't have the data? Because you look at iNaturalist, you look at this, and there's certain places that just have a ridiculous amount. There's other places that are just empty. So how do we kind of...
Well, when we created iSpot originally, it was with funding for England, not in the UK, England only. So we focused it on that, but then over the years, we then got interest from lots of other areas to get a model like what we have. The model we have is we don't just hand it to you and say, go for it. We have a framework where you have to have a curator, somebody's responsible to build the expert community first, then you put it out there and get people on board. That's how we did it and made it a success. So we kind of push it out there internationally, but our majority of our work to build it has been within the UK. So it's kind of, getting it out there and seeing how much you can get. We're reviewing all our strategies at the moment to see what we can do. Of course, money is an issue.
Sorry, the second question I had, it was about the system of recognition. There, for example, if I see a flower and I don't know which flower it is, does the system, the app, recognize automatically the flower, or am the app allows me to be educated enough to know and to see what features the flower has, and then to recognize it myself?
You have the option to choose. You may know what it is or you don't know. And based on what you suggest, it will pick out other things that it might be that are on the site. But then that's where the community comes in and help you shape that identification to what it exactly is.
You can share the photo and people...
Yeah, and people just come in. Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah.
Do you also have other languages implemented in iSpot, or is it only English?
We attempted to do Spanish through a collaboration with Chile, but just basic things have been translated, nothing much. It's a challenge for a very live, active platform as this, because it's difficult to get everything translated. It's something we're thinking about, but on the very extended long list.
I think this could be an obstacle for having it all over the world, because not everyone is so fluent in English, or every person.
It is a challenge, and that's why in what we're doing now, we're talking to other platforms that are in bespoke languages for their countries across Europe. So we'll see what ideas we come up with if we actually get money for this project that we're writing at the moment.
Actually, we already had a discussion for translation, and I was talking to Projet Noah, who also started at the time to try to have translation. And like the problem is that it creates another barrier: is that people commenting in Spanish will not get feedback from the people not speaking Spanish, and then you're actually creating other groups. That's a back problem of translating as well.
So that was the idea that you build a national expert board. They would be all fluent in Spanish.
Well, not necessarily, because people travel. And we get people who travel and populate from travel as well. So.
But isn't it also a goal with communicating about science? Mostly happens in English. So there's a language skill development in there as well. So you can adjust everything to several languages, but it won't help the Spanish person to develop their language skills in English, which is the common language in science. So
yeah, but for example, for schools, you can do. That's also a problem we have because we are looking for a platform when you have school events, and you go for iNaturalist or iSpot, and it's all in English. French kids don't speak English at all. That means they will not be able to use the platform. So that's why it's very complicated.
Yeah, it is.
You need to give access to everyone, but then giving access to everyone is going to make other problems. I mean, it's not an easy answer.
There are a lot of platforms.
The empty maps problem is also related to language issue. If
Maybe,
you translate it into Chinese, we'll get plenty of data from China.
Airbnb, for example, found a solution to this problem. So when you want to comment on the house you just rented, they say you can comment in your own language and there will be an automatic translation.
Yeah, but Google Translate isn't.
Yeah, but more and more people are working
Yeah, no,
on
it's better, but
translation.
Yeah.
There's a scientific.
I think it's a big issue.
It's a
Sorry to interrupt the translation discussion, but we need to go to the third presentation. Thank you very much.